and welcome back to what has been taking far too long in a
Finally, finally,
finally,
finally, finally.
finally another episode discussing Xenoblade Chronicles, my favorite game of all time, or one of my favorite games of all time, my favorite story maybe of all time, with my good friend Misfit.
That's me.
That's him. Today we are covering chapters 4 and 5 and the very beginning of chapter 6, which is mostly encompassed with exploring Gower Plains and the Ether Mines and rescuing Colony 6 from occupation by the Mechon, and then getting our new goal to head to the top of the Bionis prison island so that we can unlock the mysteries of the Monado and figure out how to hurt these mysterious-faced Mechon. Ooh.
Right.
Exciting. So as a quick also intro for, anybody that's maybe stumbling on part 2 and not part 1, I am Lad. I have
Go watch part one,
go
guys.
watch
Don't
part 1 first, but
don't
I'm
start
Lad. I'm
here.
the Xenoblade expert. Over there is Misfit, who has never
I'm
played or
Misfit.
seen
I don't know
anything from
shit
Xenoblade.
about this story.
And we're going through having him discuss his thoughts and theories as we play through, while I discuss some of what makes this series so beloved to me and why I like it so much.
Yeah.
With all the and like and subscribe and press the buttons and stuff,
Yeah, yeah. Do the YouTube
because
things
otherwise
right
we're
now.
gonna forget to say
You're
it.
gonna like the video.
You're gonna like the video,
You're
so
gonna
like the
like
video.
it. Just
All right.
do it.
With that, I guess the floor is yours to start the discussion wherever you want to start discussing.
Okay. I want to start by talking about Gower Plains
All right.
because it has been a long time, probably since playing Breath of the Wild for the very first, that I have felt this, like, almost emotional, just looking at the landscape of a video game. It is, it is genuinely, like, the only word is just, like, immense, but not in the sense that, excuse me, not in the sense that it's big. It's just like all of it. It is all encompassing. It is so gorgeous and like vibrant and feels like lived in, and you can tell how much work was put into this world in just this one location. It's ridiculous.
I really agree. I think there's a reason why this specific location has become as iconic as it is, even if it's not considered by many to be the most impressive or the most beautiful in the series. I think that it is really the first moment where this game sells you again on the original premise that it sells you on. Because like we
Yeah,
talked about this in the first
absolutely.
time, where the game sort of opens by selling you on this promise of grand adventure, where you come out of this like narrow, like there's high cliffs on both sides, and then sprawling out in front of you is Colony 9, open and vibrant and lived in. And then immediately that gets thrown into the trash with all the drama that happens in chapters 2 and 3 with the attack from the
Right.
Mechon, right?
And then we're like in caves
And
and
then you're
like
in
these
caves through
small
Tepper
narrow
Cave.
confined, like
Exactly.
inside the Bionis.
And then this
And
area resells you on the idea that this game is going to be an adventure, not just a story of revenge. And I think that's
right,
sort of what makes
exactly.
this area stick out so much. Um, I love it. I love Gower Plain. I think it's a really fun place. I love the music. The music is wonderful. I think that it has some of the most iconic stuff in the series with the giant monkeys, the first appearance of the giant level 80 monkey that kills you in the
Right,
first
yeah.
area, you know? I think it's a really
hmm
fun place.
I mean, yeah, like it's if you haven't watched the streams over on Lad's channel, you guys need to go watch them because it is something that you can really only experience for yourself. And I mean, I
Yeah.
know I'm not actually playing it, but as close to playing it as I can be without having to play a video game because I hate playing video games, as everyone knows. Um, but yeah, I mean, it is. I understand now why this studio keeps getting contracted out to do all of the open worlds for everything Nintendo does.
Yeah, they get contracted to do level design for like every game that Nintendo makes now.
Right,
They've
because
done,
they just have there's just something so like almost mystical and like I don't know, it's hard to put into words. Like it's just like awesome
It
in
really
the literal
is.
sense of the word.
It really is. And it really, really sells you on the fact that we're living on this giant
Yeah,
guy.
this giant god, this like titan. I mean, literal like titan in like the Greek mythology sense, like this huge, unfathomable being that is the whole world to these people. That like like Colony 9 wasn't like a small place. If was well developed and like you felt some sort of grandeur there, but that was just like a toe
Yeah,
of
it's
it
like
basically.
it's like his ankle, basically. One of
Yeah,
them. And then in this section, when we get up to the entrance to Colony 6, you can see Colony 9 all the way down there, and it's like
right.
almost a
Yeah,
speck.
exactly.
And
Hmm.
it's really
Yeah,
astounding.
that moment's really cool where like you just feel that sort of like, oh my god, and I'm just at the knee.
Yeah, we've done all this and we're just at the knee of this thing.
Hmm.
And now we're going all the way to the head at the end of this section is our new goal instead of going straight to the
Right.
Mechonis.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
it's
I mean
so
it's ridiculous.
it's lovely. It's really lovely. And the Monolith team,
Hmm.
nobody sells a world quite like the Monolith team does, I think.
Right.
And they've done good jobs
I
in the
pulled up
other
just
three.
some Google images
Yeah,
just to look at it while
they've done
I'm
a good job in
talking.
the
It's
other three games,
crazy.
but I don't think they've ever sold the scale of the world quite as well as they did in this game.
Yeah.
It's just truly astounding. And the fact that they did
Hmm.
this shit on the Wii,
On the
on
Wii,
the
that's
Wii,
ridiculous, dude.
brother. Like this is just like upscale, like new textures and stuff. Like everything is
Hmm.
still the same. Like
Right.
they didn't really change the structure of the world or the placement of enemies or like all the dialogue is from 10 years or not even more than 10 years ago. Jesus.
Yeah, you can tell that some of the dialogue is from 10 years
That's
ago.
true. That's true. But like all the acting and stuff is from all the way back then and everything. Like they didn't re-record or
Hmm.
anything. The only thing that they
Yeah.
updated really was textures and then they re-recorded some of the music.
Yeah.
And it's really just like the scale of it all is unbelievable, especially for a game that came out on
Hmm.
the Wii.
Yeah, I do forget that this is a Wii game, which is just insane.
Yeah, and that
And
somehow they
yet and
managed to
yet
put this
and
shit
yet
on the
poke and yet
3DS.
Pokemon on the Switch looks like that.
Right? Please, somebody let
This
Monolith
is
Soft make the world for the next Pokemon game. I'm begging you.
God, please.
Please.
Or look, honestly, this is totally off topic.
Yeah.
I don't even really like open world Pokemon games. Leave that for the Legends games. Give me routes back.
Give me
I don't. I
routes back.
really
So
don't
true.
care.
Anyways, back to
All
Xenoblade.
right. Pokemon rant over.
Pokemon ran over.
Pokemon fans love complaining about Pokemon. It's
That's
my favorite
true.
thing to do.
That's true. That's true. And we are certainly no exception.
Okay. Now would you it has been I have been thinking about this, but it has been a bit since I've like re-watched the streams and we did our little like rerun through it. So remind me of where we go immediately from Gower Plain.
The first place we go to is the refugee camp of Colony 6 in the plains after we meet
Right.
the greatest
We meet
character of all
Juju.
time, Juju.
No. Wrong.
I
Incorrect.
assure you that every person who will
No.
ever watch this is a huge Juju head. I assure you.
Hey, if you're a huge Juju head, put it in the comments. Watch how
I
we
think,
get no comments on this video.
Yeah. I think it is a rite of passage to viscerally hate Juju.
Do I mean like I'm asking for like a small spoiler here. Do people end up liking Juju?
No, not particularly. I mean, he's not like as bad in the rest of the game as he is in this section, but I wouldn't call Juju a particularly noteworthy character. He's sort of memed into heaven and back as a result of being
Okay.
the Juju.
The worst.
Yeah, out of us and being the worst. I don't know if he's necessarily like the most hated character of all time, but he's more of a joke than he is anything else at this
Okay.
point. Just you wait until he turns into the Jew Jonas and takes out the Bionis and the Mechonis by himself. You have no idea what's coming.
I don't think you should say that anymore.
What's wrong with the Juju Honest, bro? All right.
Okay. But we meet Juju. He sucks, and he has a car or whatever.
Yeah, his buggy. that
And
he's
then we meet his
really good at
sister,
driving.
who shoots sniper rifle.
Yeah, sniper medic.
Um, yeah,
Our
I
new
forget her
party,
name.
Charla, our new party member.
Charlotte, yeah. Um, and then we go back to, or we don't go back. We go try to save
Yeah, we chase
Colony not or
Juju
Colony Six.
through. We chase Juju through Gower Plains as he's trying to get to Colony 6, then he gets attacked by the Mechon.
Right. Yeah, and so the thing about the Mechon. This is one of my notes. Why do they eat people?
It's a great question. Why do they eat people?
Why do these mechanical creatures maybe need to or maybe want to eat people?
It's a great question.
Is just a question I have, and my running theory kind of leads to a bit of later on talk, but I can sort of mention it now. Because when we're fighting the other, like big Mechonis, or not Mechonis, Mechon, I forget his name.
Zord.
It's like Zord, yeah.
Zord.
We again can't hurt him with the Monado.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like these specific like faced Mechon are maybe like captured Homs or something that are like being modified into Mechon, and so they have like a soul or something, which is why we can't hurt them with the Monado. Is my like leading theory. But I feel like the
Okay.
little ones also eat people, right?
Seems that way, yes. Judging by the cutscene when they were
So-
attacking Colony 9.
Right. So I don't know why they would eat people. Or maybe it's like a How to Train Your Dragon thing where they have to bring the human juice back to the big dragon or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I just don't know. I like that's my leading theory at the moment, is that they're somehow human.
Either like their souls. So you were saying their souls are put in. Do you think maybe then the Monado is like reading souls or something, and that's how it's?
Well, it seems like something like that, like because the Monado is what gives Shulk the ability to see the future.
Yes, as
At
far
least
as
that's
we're
how
aware.
it seems. And so it seems like there's some sort of like, mystical something to do with the Monado. It's not just like
Mhm.
tech, I think.
Presumably, at least that's
Um,
you know.
right, right. And so I feel like I'm predicting that we are going to see like notable characters either quote unquote die or go missing. Like maybe that guy from the intro with Dunban
Mumkar.
and yeah, Mumkar. I feel like he might be like revealed to be a Mechon or something, like transformed into a Mechon,
Mm-hmm.
and like so there's something to do. There's like something to do with Dunban's story there or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But like if you're gonna put human souls into machines, I feel like it'd be a waste to not make them human souls that we give a shit
That we
about.
know about in some way.
Right.
Right.
So that's my theory going into this. Is that every faced Mechon is a person that we know or will learn about somehow.
All of them.
All of the faced ones, yes.
Okay. All of the faced ones. So then do you think, because this is something that you had mentioned when we did our little off-stream powwow, do you think then, what then do you think about the fact that there's seems to be some of these faced Mechon that look the same? Like the ones that showed up that all looked like Zord.
I did forget about that. And would you remind me again, do those talk as well?
Not in that cutscene, but presumably, if Metalface can talk and Zord can talk, presumably all the faced Mechon can talk.
I'm
But
assuming
we don't
that
see
they
them
can.
talk.
I'm assuming that there are some that are just like, for lack of a better analogy, shout out all my One Piece heads, like pacifistas based off of
Mm-hmm.
Kuma.
Right. So you think there's like a prime faced Mechon, so that like Zord was like the prime version of the
Yeah.
big brown one with the hammer,
Mm-hmm.
and then maybe you were also mentioning you thought maybe there was multiple metal faces. So then this new metal
Yeah, I
this
did
metal
mention
face that
so,
showed
like,
up in this cutscene would be the prime metal face, then the one that attacked us was maybe not, since he didn't
was
speak.
yeah, maybe not, or maybe he was just feeling shy that day.
Mm-hmm.
That could also be it.
That could also be it.
Maybe he was just not in a talking mood.
Mm-hmm.
But no, yeah. So I do think that this metal face is a different one than the one we met in Colony 9.
Hee. They do look ever so
I
slightly
hate it when
different.
he's.
They do look ever so
Do
slightly
they?
different. I think it's because his
I didn't
face
notice
is
that.
his face is different because he got attacked in the head by Shulk, presumably if it's the same one. His
Oh.
his face is like repaired
Mm.
looking after Shulk attacked
Mm.
him when he had like the weakened spot from when Fiora shot him with the ether cannon, and Shulk was able to do a little bit of damage.
Yeah, and then there's that whole ether cannon thing.
Yeah, same thing with Zord. He
And
fell
so
into
what
the
is
ether
do
river, and we
we
were able to damage him as well.
Yeah, have we been told anything about what ether is other than just a power source?
At this point, I don't think so.
Okay.
We will get
Because
some
I'm
information
assuming
about
that it
ether
is like
soon.
the life force of the Bionis or the Mechanis being
Mm-hmm.
like mined or somehow from its body, like its bone marrow or some shit.
Mm-hmm. Or like blood or
Is my
something,
like yeah, blood or
like
something. Yeah, I don't know
marrow
why I went
or
to bone marrow
before
immediately.
blood, but I mean it could be either, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. So
we will
that's so
get
those are my
yeah.
thoughts.
Without any spoilers, I guess this is kind of a spoiler. We'll get some information about ether in the next section, and then a little more later on.
Okay.
But you're pretty close to the money there. I don't think that the nature of
Cool.
ether I don't think is necessarily a huge spoiler because we're gonna learn about
Okay.
a lot more about it kind of soon. But you're
Hmm.
pretty close. You're not exactly on, but you're pretty close there. I'll say.
Okay.
That's something I'm willing
I'm
to
fine
not
with
hee
that.
hee about.
All right.
And before we move on, I was gonna save this for later. But before we move on to the topic, I'll move off of the topic of the Mechon. I want to mention something that I did not show on the stream, and I did not show to you when we were doing our powwow,
Mm-hmm.
because I think that I wanted to save it for this because I thought it would be fun to save it for
Okay.
this. But there is one little piece of dialogue. So if you are a keen player and after the events of Colony 6 you decide, I want to go back and talk to the people in Colony 9.
Oh.
There is one specific character who we did some of her side quests in the first stream, and I mentioned that she had
Mhm.
interesting things to say if you talked to her later. This was the character I
Okay.
was talking about. One of the NPCs, and normally I would hide this information, but I figure, you know what? I want to give you all the pieces that you can work with.
It's available.
It is
I
now
could have
available.
found it.
I checked before we did this section to see if she would say this, and she does not. But after you beat the Colony 6 section, she says this. If you don't mind listening, I'd like to get some things off my chest. Do you remember my father at all? He used to swing a hammer above his head all day, every day. He used to build and fix machines and was really good at it too. He ran his own place. Zord's Smithy, he called it. The best one in the entire colony. Everyone said it. But he died a year ago in the battle with the Mechon, and I couldn't even keep his shop open. I had to close it down. That's why it's vital that I at least find something to do with my life. You know, talking about it made me feel a lot better. I'll think it over some more.
Okay. So I'm right.
Yeah, or at least you're
I'm
on the
right.
right track.
I'm totally 100% right about everything that I'm theorizing.
Yeah, so far you're 100% on.
Yeah.
There's
So Zord is at least somehow related to that girl's dad.
Mhm.
He swings a hammer. Her dad's name was Zord, and so okay. So I guess maybe not totally all relevant characters because that chick's dad I wouldn't call a relevant character, but
Yeah, I mean we certainly didn't meet him unless he was one of the
right.
background characters in the opening cutscene, but we didn't get his name
Yeah.
then.
Right. Okay. So yeah. So I do. So I mean, yeah.
So you think somehow like their souls are being put into these machines then?
Somehow something like that. I guess.
Something akin to that? Okay.
Yeah.
And I mean he did
Okay.
seem to at least maintain some bit of Zord's Zordness in the sense that he did use a big hammer.
Right. He had, yeah, exactly. Like he had a personality.
Yeah. Although I will say, and this is just me pointing out some dialogue just to stir any thoughts for you.
Uh-huh.
When at the end, before he dies, um, he says something like, when they're questioning him about his name, he goes, "Yeah, they call me Zord. That I can't say I remember it myself." So it seems like
Interesting.
other people were calling him Zord, but he doesn't know why.
Uh-huh.
Just wanted to bring that
Interesting.
line of dialogue up because I think it's worth mentioning while we're on the topic of Zord himself.
Okay. I also, maybe this is maybe something that you accidentally gave away. You said people
I
when you
think
were
it's I
talking
think
about
it's because
Sword.
he says something. Oh, what do you mean? In what way? Because he
Well, you
says
said that's what other people were calling him.
yes, he says like that's what they all say. Can't say I remember it myself. I
Uh-huh.
took that as multiple people because he
Hmm.
said that's what they all
I
say.
know. But I wouldn't call Mechons people. They're
Oh,
clankers.
they're okay. Could be
And
people to
so
the people of
maybe
Mechonus, right?
and so maybe there's a group of Homs or some sort of Bionis created creature that are like some sort of like secret society that are creating these Mechon and putting people's souls in them.
Hee hee. Hee hee.
And all of my theories are correct, so
And
that
all
is
of your
true.
theories are correct.
Interesting. Okay. Hmm.
I will also, you know what, on the
Hmm.
topic of your theories, I want to bring up a
Uh-huh.
little mention of some of the talk from last time, as best as I remember it.
Right.
It's been a
Yeah.
while, and I
It's
did
been a
I
while.
did rewatch it, and it's still been a little while since I rewatched it. That was a couple of days ago, and it's been a long week.
Hmm.
Uh, so I don't remember everything perfectly. But most of your theories were about the Monado at that time,
Uh-huh.
and so I thought I would bring up some of the ideas you had mentioned about the Monado to see if you still were in agreement with those, or if you any of the new information we've received in this section, which is not a ton, about the Monado itself, um,
Yeah.
hold true. Although we do get, the whole vision at the end with the giant man saying stuff
Uh-huh.
about unlocking the true power of the Monado. So,
Right.
the first idea that you had presented was that you thought the Monado was a key,
Yeah,
and
I
it
haven't
was
really thought much
either
about that theory, but I do think that it still is.
I see. You were thinking. I think your main ideas was that it was either like a key that could start the Mechonus or the Bionis or something, a la like Simone's drill.
Right.
And then I will say on the note of a key, I believe before. Hold on, actually. I
Hmm.
believe that the vision we see has the line "Let the shackles be released," if I remember correctly. I don't
Right.
believe I'm.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
believe
yeah.
one of our two visions have had that line. One of the two
I'm
major
pretty sure I do it.
visions.
Yeah.
I want to know. Maybe I should have checked before I said that in case I'm spoiling something. But I
That's
believe
fine.
I believe that the most recent vision ends with "Let the shackles be released," and then he comes out of the vision,
Right.
or it's one of the lines
Right.
in the
And
vision.
so, and then we also have something about the true Monado from
Yes,
the
from the
last
mysterious
episode.
the mysterious man in Shulk's
Right.
dreams who showed up at the end of this section. Uh,
Yeah.
who seems to be maybe controlling or at least in cahoots with the Telethia that saved us from the Mechon. Anything about
Right. Yeah, there's those
him and
big ass
that giant
birds.
the giant like dinosaur like space monster looking thing?
Yeah. Um, he's giving me like, hmm. It's, hmm. So there's the thing. So there's the thing that we know that there is some sort of like previous society that
Yes, we learned
like
about
sort
there
of
is
harvested the
an ancient race on the Bionis called the
right that
Hientia.
like yeah. And so maybe he's one of those, maybe like the last of those or something, or maybe there's a bunch of them
Maybe.
like on the head or something,
We know at
or
all we
or
know at
not
the
the head.
moment is that they're real and that Dixon has met them. We
Okay.
don't know how many there are or if they're still thriving or not. We just know that they are
Uh huh.
real and that there at least exists enough of them for Dixon to have met them
Yeah. Okay.
because he's well traveled,
So
as he puts it.
And so they have to have something to do with the what was it, like the ether depot or whatever
Yeah, there was like an
from
ether
last time?
deposit near Colony 9 where we got attacked by these like advanced robots, but they weren't mechon. They were just
Not
robots.
Mechon. Right. So I feel like those guys might have something to do with this sort of like hybridization of human and Mechonis or Mechon,
Hmm.
that seems to be happening.
So you think maybe the
Um,
Hyentia are the ones that are creating the face mechon and attacking the colonies?
Either them or whatever their counterpart would be born of the Mechonis.
Okay.
Because I'm assuming that if there are Mechon and Hams and there are Hyentia, there would be some sort of counterpart to them that are Mechon based.
Do you think the Mechonis just has Napon, or do they have like robot Napon?
I really hope they have robot Nappa. I really hope there are little like
little
just little droids
little
that
droids
are round.
that are round and talk like Napon do,
Yes. Yes, I do really hope that
with
that is
like
the
a robot
case.
filter over their voice or something. Bash
Hmm.
pow.
But yeah, I feel like these two titans are obvious parallels of each other, and so I feel like the creatures that are born from them also need to be paralleled somehow.
Hmm.
So it's either the Hyentia or whatever their counterpart would be that are doing this sort of hybridization of Mechon and Toms.
Gotcha. And then the running theory is that the mysterious man in Shulk Streams is one of these Hyentia, and that's why he can
Yes,
control this Telethia that we've seen,
right.
assuming he
And
is
then
controlling it.
the Monado is a key that is gonna turn on the Bionis, and Shulk is gonna pilot it like a mech
Hmm.
and fight the Bionis.
Fight the other one, the Mechonis.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
If
yeah. The
he's
Mechonis.
piloting the
Sorry.
Bionis, he would be fighting the Mechonis.
Right. Yeah, yeah. Obviously.
Unless,
So
the
yeah,
the
but
Jujonas comes to truth.
we don't even really need to play the rest of the story because I already
Oh yeah,
figured it
you
out.
sure have figured it all out, I'm sure. Hee hee.
Right. But yeah, I think that's my
That's a lot of the
theory and thoughts
grander stuff.
for the yeah.
I guess to bring it back down a little closer to home, I'll ask
Uh-huh.
some thoughts on our new characters. I'll start with
Ooh.
Sharla, our new party member. And this is sort of her
I
introduction and her joining of the crew, her gaining motivation to want to
right.
get revenge for presumably her dead fiance Gatto and the rest of the people of Colony 6 that she was unable to save, and now joining
Right.
us as our
So
medic.
I do now have to assume, because of what I said earlier, that Gatto is going to show up again as a faced Mechon.
Mm-hmm.
Um, which just feels like, would be a waste to not, now that we're doing this whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of Charlotte, I like her. I haven't gotten a whole lot of like, I don't know, characterization or personality from her, just because it's been, a chapter or two.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I feel like that is kind of where I'm lacking in this story a little bit. And maybe this is just my like me moving to a different medium that I'm less familiar with in terms of storytelling. Is I'm not in love with any of the characters yet.
Mm-hmm.
Like I like Shulk and I like Ryan, but like I don't feel attached to them yet. So I'm not sure where or if that will ever happen.
I see that. I mean, I think that part of it might come from, as you said, the medium change. Because I think for me, a lot of times with these sorts of games, I get super quickly attached to these characters because of gameplay. Like I get
Right.
so
And I'm also not
attached
playing the
to,
game.
right. I mean,
So
and I
there's
don't
also
think it's
that.
necessarily exclusive to that, but I think there is a lot of like when you are as a player facing challenges and difficulties, and these
Hmm.
characters are the ones that are there with you facing those challenges and overcoming them as a team,
Uh-huh.
you get sort of bonded to them in that way, I think.
Right.
and maybe some of that is lost in the way that we're doing this, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, but I mean, I mean, like I said,
But we're
I
also
do
at
really
the
like
beginning of the
Shulk and
story,
Ryan,
right?
and so maybe I just need more time with Charla.
That's fair. It also doesn't help with the way that we have ended up being forced to schedule this due to
Yeah, scheduling has also just been
scheduling
a
has been a nightmare,
nightmare.
and so maybe the constant waiting in between sections has resulted in a little
Right.
bit less time to be thinking about the characters and their
hmm
relationships.
Um, but yeah.
I don't know. I kind of agree though on Charla. I don't think she's
Okay.
super standout in this section. I think a
Yeah.
lot of this section is her going like Gatto, 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 and talking about her
Yeah.
dead
She
husband a
is not passing
bunch.
the Bechdel
She's
test.
not very well. I like some of her like urgency. I like that she like because Shulk and Ryan have a bit in this section where they're sort of taking things a little slow, and she's like, no, these are like people that are I care about, and there might be like dead. We
hmm
have to go, 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 and they're like trying
Yeah.
to sort of keep her in pace, which I think is a fun dynamic a little bit.
Uh huh.
But I think a lot of her in this section is defined by Gatto is dead, my brother is in danger, and I want to listen to Atharon, and I
hmm
don't love it for her. I think she, more than really a lot of the women in this series more broadly, has a bit of a trouble with being kind of defined in that way, which is a shame.
Yeah.
Um, and I think it especially hurts that Shulk and Ryan get a lot in this section that's really good. You
Yeah.
know, like with their whole the because this is like the big moment where Shulk and Ryan's like tension sort of comes to a head is in this chapter of
Yeah.
the like
Exactly.
of Ryan being like, Shulk, you have to get out of your goddamn head, and you have to
Uh huh.
when you see shit, we have to talk about it, you
Uh
know.
huh.
And I think that that's a really a like maybe the biggest character moment of this section is sort of for Shulk and
Yeah.
Ryan, and
Definitely.
so despite being the newest member of the crew, Charlotte doesn't get as much to do because this section is still so focused on Shulk and Ryan, you know.
hmm Yeah. To talk a little bit more about Shulk and Ryan, I really like that moment from Ryan. I think that is a great like actual character moment for him. My thoughts about Shulk, I'm still confused by him. Obviously, this is a mystery
Mm-hmm.
story a little bit. Um, I, maybe it's the voice acting thing, and maybe it's the medium thing. I don't buy his like revenge mission yet. Like every time that he talks about like wanting revenge, he doesn't seem like that kind of character
Mm-hmm.
to me. Like seems very like chill and mild mannered, and yet he does have this like intense drive to like kill every last one of them. And so I don't know if it's trying to do that in the story, or if this is a me thing, but there's just a bit of like I don't know the word, but just not lining up.
Mm-hmm. I think
And
that
so I'm interested to why.
just as some evidence from the first section, just to refresh your memory on a few things, I think there's some stuff about how like when Shulk goes to talk with Dunban and he's like, I kind of expected Dunban to talk me out of it, and he has this whole moment where
hmm
like there's this split between I want to kill all the Mechon and I want to treasure the life that Fiora gave me.
hmm
And he has like he mentions there's like two voices in his head, one that's saying to listen to
hmm
Dunban and one that's telling me to kill them all. So I think that
Okay.
he
Yeah. Yeah.
personally has that sort of divide going on, and it's sort of a mental
Uh-huh.
his own conflict mentally that he's trying to wrap his head around. And so
hmm
I think part of what makes Shulk such a fun protagonist is the way that he gets lost in his head so much, and that he's not because a
hmm
lot of this series is very shonen, and Shulk is not a very shonen protagonist, you know.
Right.
And I think that that's what sort of makes Shulk interesting in the broader section of the protagonist. Like as a this isn't a huge spoiler. The protagonist of Xenoblade 2 is extraordinarily shonen. He's a very much more
Okay.
shonen character than Shulk is, and the protagonist of Xenoblade 3 is a little more sort of in between. But
hmm
Shulk is this very, he's meek, he's mild mannered, he's afraid to speak his mind, and yet
Right.
he is put in a position where he has to be this leader who speaks his mind and makes decisions.
hmm
And I think that's sort of the conflict that's being presented, and that's why Ryan is so
Right.
important, right?
Hmm.
at least in my viewing
Right.
of the
Yeah.
section, without saying anything of the broader story.
Hmm.
So I think that
Yeah.
you're
It's very
you're
interesting.
perfectly valid to feel that sort of confusion with who Shulk is, because I think Shulk is feeling that
Right.
same confusion at this
He's
point in
also
the
very
story.
confused. Okay, that makes me feel better because I again like I'm trying to not let the medium influence how I
Hmm.
like consume the story, but also like take into account the way that the medium dictates the story. So it's very
Yeah,
difficult.
yeah.
But no, so okay, so I do so that makes me feel better because I do actually like that sort of character style.
Hmm.
Like he's very conflicted internally about having this like this maybe like rage in him about Fiora's death and about the Mechon, but also wanting to be his normal chill self. Like he wants every day to be like that day. Fiora
Yeah,
is his goal,
he wants to sit in the park and eat sandwiches and tinker with machines and not
right?
wield the sword that can see the future and be the
Right.
hero of the Homs and slay all the
Yeah.
Mechon. It's like not
Hmm.
where he thought his lot
So
in
I
life would
guess I
be.
guess maybe we're just I guess this is also maybe me not knowing how long this story is gonna be.
Hmm.
But I guess we're still kind of in the like call to adventure part of the, or like maybe just out of the call to adventure part of the hero's journey,
Yeah, I
like a
would
story.
say
Right?
we're pretty early in. I think that
Okay.
a lot of the story is sort of backloaded in this game, in the sense that like
Okay.
there is a point at the halfway mark where everything gets big, and then it
Mm.
stays big from that point forward. So we're kind of at the point where things are building at the moment,
Okay.
without spoiling anything in particular.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But there is a moment where everything sort of gets bigger in scale again.
Uh huh.
Whereas right now, I feel like we're being sold on the scale of the world itself and the scale of like the threat that we're trying to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're sort of building that, and we're building the party as well. So we have to like build up the party so that then we can
Right.
get
Yeah.
the
We're
party
still we're still
interacting
in the
with each
East
other.
Blue.
Yeah, we're still in the East. We're not even at like Sanji yet. Like we've
Okay.
got
Okay. Gotcha.
we
Okay.
maybe we just picked up Sanji. Like we're heading to Arlong Park, but like maybe we're just getting to the Baratier or so.
Yeah,
You
we're
know,
going to Gaimon's
because like
island.
we just got Dunban. Dunban
No,
just
wait.
joined the party at the
Gaimon's
end.
way earlier.
Yeah. Or maybe we just
Okay.
finished Syrup
Okay.
Village,
Okay.
That's kind of where we're
Okay.
at.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes more sense. Because I
In a
have
way.
been like, all right, it feels like we're I haven't felt
Yeah.
the stakes yet, I guess. But
I
also,
guess
I
that's
guess
fair.
that's
It's maybe also a
we've
consequence of how I've
only done
decided
two
to pace
sections of this.
our sections,
Yeah, I think
because
it's also a bit of scheduling because it's been
yeah,
like
that's true.
7 months
Too.
since the first
Yeah,
stream or whatever.
it's been 3 months since the first discussion or so. So
It feels like so much longer.
yeah, it sure does. Um,
Oh. But yeah, I wanna let you kind of prod me some more because I feel like that's going well with the
mhm.
discussion. So anything that you want my opinion on more.
Let me see. I think here's a question. And I don't know how much you remember of all the visions we've seen. Is there anything about the visions that has got you curious?
So
Like the giant
I
man, for
guess
example. What's up with
yeah,
him?
the giant man is interesting, but he seems too cloaked in mystery for me to like
To pull anything?
to pull much. My what immediately came to mind when you asked that was it seems like all of the visions that we've gotten have been like, or at least maybe not all, but a lot of them have been about like characters dying or like major events that Shulk needs to,
To be there to
change.
see or to change?
Right. And so I'm wondering how much of the visions come from the Monado and from the sort of mystical aspect of that, and how much of it comes from Shulk. Of
Hmm.
like if we had never met Juju, would Shulk have still gotten a vision about him? Right?
Right.
Like how much
That's a
how
good
much of it
question.
is like this thread of fate that seems to be like that whatever mystical thing is kind of pulling Shulk along. Like, how much of that is that, and how much of it is Shulk's own will?
Certainly an interesting
I guess it
question. Because I mean,
is a
just
question I
to
have.
play devil's advocate a little bit, because we've
Mm-hmm.
seen in this section we had our first part of the. Remember, if you remember a little bit from the first chapter when he picks up the Monado and he
Right.
has that like grand vision with like a bunch of different scenes that are like so spread
Yeah,
apart and out
yeah,
of context. In this section, the
like a
first of those
flashbang.
scenes in that grand vision at the start, we saw one of them. And it was Charla, where she screams, "I'll scrap each and every one of you," while shooting at the Mechon.
Right.
Um, and so at the very least, at that point, he was getting visions of the things going on in the ether mine without even knowing that Colony 6 was in danger. But then you also
Right.
have, like, it isn't until they find Juju's broken buggy that he has a vision that Juju's in danger from the Armus or whatever he gets attacked by.
Uh-huh.
Um, and so, or even like, you have like gameplay wise, like you get visions when you pick up items that are going to be important for a quest later, for example,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
or visions of like
So
Shulk
it
about to get
feels so
attacked.
it
It
and so
seems
it
like
feels like
there's
there has
almost
to
like
be like some
there's
sort of trigger,
some sort of
like
trigger that
some sort of
triggers his
like
visions. Yeah,
right,
or even
like
the
environmental factor or something, or even
mhm.
just like a word that a character may say could trigger something.
Mhm. Or even like
Hmm.
I mean, look at the end of this last section. He gets the vision that we're now following to the top of the Bionis when he's attacking Metalface and his blade starts to sink into the armor somehow. Which is also
Right.
something that is
Yeah.
worth mentioning is that he somehow starts to damage uh Metalface without
Metal phase.
him being injured by ether at all
Hmm.
at this section, and then he gets a vision while he's
Right.
doing it.
And so maybe it's something of like, I mean, I'm going out on a limb, but like maybe it's something to do with like the Bionis actually having some sort of like will of its own still, and so like things on its body it can sort of, you know, either guide its chosen hero, whatever. That assuming that the Monado is some sort of key to the Bionis. So maybe there's something about that where it can like sense and feel the different aspects of like its life energy almost that it seems
Hmm.
to, inhabit all of these creatures.
So it's doing like some sort of like Eneru observation hockey thing.
Oh yeah, kind of. I'm thinking of it a little bit of like I know you haven't watched Naruto, which is crazy. We'll get there eventually. But like how like for the people in the audience who have seen Naruto, like Kaguya is like the mother of chakra, right? And so all chakra comes from her technically. And so I'm thinking that like all biological life comes from the Bionis. And so there's a little piece of its soul or its life force or whatever you want to call it in all of the biological creatures somehow.
Hmm.
And so maybe there's something about that which is triggering the visions. It's something about like if it's on its body, it can sense it and can send a vision to Shulk somehow. I don't really know.
Hmm.
Um, and I'm sure I could probably go back and look at everything and disprove this theory somehow, but I'm not gonna.
I will say simply hee hee.
All right. Uh, the giant man is weird. I don't really know
Yeah,
how
he
to
is weird.
conceptualize him
Do
yet.
you think he's a Hyentia? Or do you think he's something else?
I don't I don't think he's a Hyentia, just like off of gut instinct.
Hmm.
So maybe he's the other thing.
Maybe he's
Like
the thing you think is the counterpart to the Hyentia that's on the
yeah,
Mechonis?
right. The low Antia.
Low Entia.
Um, maybe, but he's just not reading the same to me.
Hmm.
Off of just like gut instinct of like knowing how stories go and like analyzing stuff like this. It doesn't read the same.
Gotcha.
So I don't know. He's harder for me to theorize about because
Yeah, he just is
I
so
know so
cloaked
little
in the
about him.
unknown. I guess the only thing we really know is that he knows something about the Monado, and that's it.
Right.
Because he says, what is it? In the beginning of the vision, he says, "Welcome, true heir to the Monado," or something like that to Shulk.
Maybe the giant man is the literal like soul of the Bionis. That's what I'm gonna say from now on, or for starting. Yeah, for
Okay,
now,
so for now, the
is
giant
that
man
it is the
is the soul of the Bionis incarnate,
yes,
living somewhere, presumably the head of
right,
the Bionis, where we're going.
the head or the heart or maybe I don't know,
Somewhere.
something like that.
And then I
Yes,
guess to prod again, we've got Dunban back. I don't know if there's much to say
Y-
about Dunban other than he's back.
I think he's cool.
He's very cool. I love his
I'm interested to his
reintroduction.
story because I'm assuming that most of, if not all of the party members are gonna have their own sort of story arc to go through,
I
and
think
so I'm interested to see where
they
this.
mostly do. This game is not too good at doing that for some of the characters. The later
Mhm,
games are much better at giving the whole party really concrete arcs. But for most
right.
of the cast in this game, they get very explicit arcs. A lot of the characters in this game end up being more of like supporting cast for Shulk a lot of the time,
Uh-huh.
because so much of this game is focused on Shulk.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so there are a couple specific party members, I won't say who in particular. Some we have met, some we have not met. I'll say that much.
Mhm.
That get a lot more focus than others.
Uh-huh.
I think it's one of the few things about this game that I don't love is that I think some of the party
Mhm.
members get a little disservice in the screen time they get.
Right.
Um, but I think that there's interest to see where each of the party members is going and how their motivations and feelings change as we
Mhm.
go.
Yeah. So I'm interested to see where Dunban goes as this sort of like old, like the old guard of the hero of whatever the hero of the Monado is
Yeah,
or
the
whatever.
former hero of the Homs, who used to be the only one
Hmm.
who could wield the Monado until it almost killed
Right.
him.
Exactly. And so like I'm seeing him and just if you guys, if the audience members get annoyed with me comparing everything to One Piece, tough shit.
Tough shit.
But
This was originally a One Piece channel.
right. He's giving like almost like a Whitebeard sort of energy of like
Mm-hmm.
the old era who kind of he's still holding on and he's strong and he's useful, but he's falling behind and he's going to eventually have to give up maybe his life, maybe something else for the next era,
Mm-hmm.
for Shulk and the future hero of the Homs.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm interested to see where he goes because like, you know, we don't get to see a whole lot of Whitebeard like doing stuff in the story, and we have what I'm assuming is the Whitebeard of this world in our party,
In
which
our
is interesting.
party, and pretty early on too, as like our fourth
Right.
party member.
And so like I'm very interested to see how he sort of like reconciles and deals with like maybe like watching Shulk wield the Monado, he gets like jealous or maybe he's just like, oh man, that's my boy or something like that,
Yeah.
Um, maybe he has more info that he doesn't realize he has about how it works, and he'll realize that at some point and be able to help Shulk
Mm-hmm.
wield it better.
I also
Um,
think, and this is not to discredit anything you're saying, I just think it's sort of funny because the story does treat Dunban very much in this way, and that he's like the old guard and this like the last remnants of the heroes. But he's like 32.
mhm.
Dunban's in like his early
I
30s.
guess,
It's really funny because he
yeah.
does not read that way at all. But
No, he
Dunban is like
doesn't.
in his like early 30s. And I not that's not a discredit to anything you're saying because all of that is very much true
Mhm.
in how they are sort of initially presenting Dunban to us. But he is
Right.
also like in his early 30s while the rest of the team
Okay.
is like I forget Charlotte's like early 20s and then Ryan and Dunban or Ryan and Shulk are like 18, 19, something like that.
Okay. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
But
Maybe he's not
Dunban's
as
like,
old as like a Whitebeard,
no,
but yeah,
Dunban's
like
not that old. At least he's younger than Dixon as well, because Dixon
right.
he calls Dixon old man. So,
Hmm.
but he is like the hero of the Homs. I think you're sort of the interest about like how does he keep moving now that he's not using his arm and everything
Right.
is certainly an avenue to look at.
Mm-hmm.
And then I
Dixon, I don't
guess
really have. I don't
yeah,
have much on
we didn't we
Dixon.
all we really
Uh,
learned is that he's well traveled. And you mean
yeah.
we
But I
knew
mean, I guess maybe there should be more intrigue there because he does, like, he's apparently met the Hyenti.
he's met the
So
Hyentia. He's the like one of the only people that we know of, the only person we know of that's traveled all the way to the head of the Bionis. He found
right.
the Monado 15 years ago, or however long ago it was.
Mhm.
Um,
So maybe there's more there, but it's not front and center enough for me to really
yeah,
latch onto yet.
yeah. And I guess he was also smart enough to make a weapon out of Mechon material that can hurt the basic Mechon for Dunban. So
Yeah, true.
I don't know. Dixon
Interesting.
is there's not a lot to go off with Dixon at the moment, but he is around. So,
Hmm.
and he's gonna be around with us for the next section because he's gonna follow us for a little bit until he
Right. Yeah.
leaves. Which you can see, which you've seen at the end of the thing. He's one of the reserve party members for a little bit. So,
Hmm.
I guess I'll talk briefly a little bit on some of the gameplay stuff in this section.
Yeah. I'm interested
Um,
to see.
because I think this section is interesting in that one, obviously, it both visually engages you on the original promise of the game, but also you get to explore Gower Plain, and there's a lot of cool things there, like you get the giant monkey that's classic to Xenoblade. There's
Hmm.
like there's like you get to see genuinely cool secret areas that let you see the entirety of Gower Plain from above, which is really really cool. There's like
Yeah.
areas that are easy to explore and areas that are extremely dangerous. There's quest lines that lead you to interesting places, like the one that leads you to this like Turkin camp where there's just a bunch of these like bird people that attack you. There's one where
Hmm.
you get led into a cave to get this like great treasure and you get flanked by a bunch of bats or something. And then like you've got different places where there's easy paths, like at Ragwell Lake you could go across the big bridge where it's safe, or you can go across like the little um weird like not lily pad, they're almost like mushroom things like made of rock that are sticking out of Ragwell Lake, and they're all like covered with rope bridges to cross them. There's also like level 80 level 70 monkeys all over them that are not as big as the big one, but
Yeah.
there's like small ones that are covering those, so you don't want to go that way. You can go right towards where you find Juju and there's Mechon in the way, or you can go left and there's these like level 50 spiders that you have to slowly walk past instead to not fight them, you know.
Hmm.
And I think there's this sort of it sort of really gets you in the engaging of what the gameplay loop of Xenoblade sort of looks like,
Right.
and then throws you into like a more traditional like video gamey dungeon with the ether mine where you have like mostly scripted encounters where you fight a bunch of guys because they all aggro to you,
Hmm.
and then you like
Yeah.
go
It's all
further and
hallway
further
fights
down. It's like a bunch
basically.
of hallway fights, right? And I also think it's interesting from a gameplay perspective also that like after we have spent all this time struggling through the loss of Fiora and like struggling with just Shulk and Ryan on their own, the first person we get is a healer, a person who can keep the team alive. Because if
Hmm.
you're struggling with this game, which is how a lot of people's first experience with it goes, stuff like going through Tephra Cave and dealing with some of the boss fights early on is really tough without a dedicated healer, and especially with
Hmm.
just Shulk and Ryan and no Fiora either. So having somebody whose like primary role on the team is to make it so that the rest of the team is not dying when you're dealing with these side quests that cause you to get jumped by a bunch of enemies or powerful enemies does end up feeling impactful, even if
Hmm.
gameplay wise Charlotte kind of sucks in
Yeah.
the grander scheme of the game when you're really good at it, you know?
Hmm.
But like there is something there to like we needed somebody like this to keep Shulk and Ryan from killing themselves on this journey, and
Uh-huh.
we get that from a gameplay perspective in that she also prevents you from ramming your head into a wall against a bunch of enemies that you can't handle because now you can stay alive. And I think there's something interesting to that. Um,
Hmm.
even if it's, I mean, it's not a super, unique thing a la losing Fiora and losing part of your combo attacks, because there's a lot of games that introduce a healer sort of early on to ease the struggle after you've struggled through a big boss or something. But I do think it's worth mentioning as something since, you're not as well versed in
Yeah,
video game
and I'm also
storytelling as
not the
I
one
am.
playing, so I don't
Right. So you don't
feel all of the
feel
gameplay stuff.
feel a lot of the gameplay stuff. You don't feel how
Right.
Charlotte's helpful. And we haven't had Dunban long enough to really talk about how he feels in gameplay, although Dunban is one of my favorites, just because he's a lot of
Mhm.
fun to play, even if he's not...
Right.
I mean, he's good, but he's not, like, interesting thematically necessarily the way that
Okay. Yeah.
losing Fiora is and gaining Charlotte is. He's just a lot of fun. The
Uh-huh.
only real interesting thing about Dunban is that now he has a whole suite of arts and attacks that are all his own. Now that he's not wielding the Monado,
Right.
before,
Yeah.
if we played him in the prologue, or if you play him in the section where he's wielding the Monado, he only has Monado Buster and Monado Enchant. Those are the only two attacks he has. Now he has his
Mhm.
own talent art, Blossom Dance, and he has like 10 other arts that you can choose. He's got like a
Right.
whole move set that's like built around doing like one attack and then leading it into other attacks to get bonus effects, and none of that is stuff that he could do while he was wielding the Monado. And now he's able to bring out
Right.
his own skill with the
Which is
sword.
which I mean, like we talked about a little bit in the first episode, but it's that is something that like is genuinely like that I've like latched onto in terms of like how the gameplay is interesting and engaging is like Dunban was the only person who could wield the Monado, but he was also so limited by it.
Yeah.
Like he was like it was almost like I mean like I don't know, I'm trying to word it, but like yes, he was very powerful wielding it, but all the skills that he had like, acquired basically were not useful. Like he was unable to access all
Yeah, like all of
because
his
the
skill as
Monado
a
was
fighter.
so all encompassing to him. He couldn't he could only barely manage to wield it.
Yeah, like it took all of
And
his
that was
strength
it.
just to be able to wield the Monado, to the point where
Right.
it was
So there was
just all
he
he was
couldn't
doing was whatever the Monado could do
right.
with his strength. Whereas Shulk is using the Monado effortltly.
Right.
And there's an interesting, you get that divide there
And I'm,
even in the gameplay.
there is a wonder in me of like is Shulk literally special or is he just narratively special?
Hee hee. That's all I'll say.
Okay.
I won't answer either way.
Right. Um, but yeah, it's very interesting how proficient Dunban is, and contrasting that to how limited he was while wielding the Monado in gameplay.
Mhm.
It's very cool.
I also think, as a final note with gameplay stuff on the top of my head, I think it's interesting that the way that the levels are paced, sort of, is you end up getting a day's art back on Shulk around the time you're about to fight Zord, which I think is interesting timing. I mean, it's not like they perfectly time when you're going to level up, but most players are going to end up about that level where you get that move for Shulk that allows him to do the thing that Fiora was able to do before, around the time you're getting to Zord. And so like the time you're finally back to fighting a faced Mechon again, you've gained that skill that Fiora had on Shulk to be
Right.
able to use against these oppressors that have taken her from you, which I think is a fun,
Hmm.
even if unintentional detail, I think is fun. Maybe it's intentional,
Yeah,
maybe
I
it's
mean,
not, because you can't, it's
mhm.
not like they force you to be a certain level before the story quests or anything.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But I do think it's worth mentioning.
Yeah. I agree. It's very interesting.
I like the fight with Zord. I like that you have to like struggle against his like the guys that he summons so that you can build up like enough synergy with the team to be able to knock him down. I think is like a fun way
Mhm.
of implementing the whole team having to work together to take this face Mechon down
Right.
in by having him take 1 damage. You also get the incredibly funny line where he constantly says, "I feels like a fly bit me" every time he takes 1 damage from an attack, which is
Yeah.
hilarious and makes me
It's
laugh
great.
every time I play this game, even still. With the stupid voice filter on his voice, I just love it.
Hmm.
I love that. We also get a new Monado art in this section, gameplay wise. We
Oh,
get
do we?
Monado
I forget.
Speed when we save when
Hmm.
we try to save Juju from the tentacle Mechon. We use it
Right.
to save Charla in a vision, and also gain a new way to avoid attacks in combat, which is kind of fun. Not super
Right.
notable. It does come from one of my favorite action set pieces in the game, the section where you're fighting that tentacled Mechon, and Shulk is
Hmm.
like dodging things, and she's like, "How are you doing this?" And he's like, "It's not me, it's the power of the Monado." And then he does like this crazy pose, and like all the symbols flash and stuff. It's really cool. It's cool stuff.
Neat.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. I think that this is a fun section. It promises a lot, and it sort of does a lot of setup work for what's to come.
Right.
It raises a lot of questions and provides a few answers, maybe.
Very few answers, but some at
Provides
least.
some half answers.
Hmm.
I'm trying to think if there's any other major things in this section. I guess we didn't talk about Atharon at all. He's sort of a central character in this section about like wanting to get revenge for Gatto and the people of Colony 9 or Colony
That's the
6, and
old guy.
the old guy. And he's in a lot of
Uh,
Shulk's visions. He is the first person we managed to save in a vision. That's something.
True.
We do save. I guess we saved Charla too, but he's the
Yeah.
one. Like the whole back half of this section is Shulk getting visions over and over again of this guy going, "Juju, Gatto, this is for
Right.
you," and then he falls into the acid and dies, or falls into the ether pit and dies. And we see
Yeah.
that vision like 5 times in this section. And we do manage to save him at the end, which is fun.
Right.
And proof that Shulk's visions can be changed, that they're not purely fatalistic, outside of the small ones. He can actually change a big one where somebody's really, really gonna die. Even if a lot of it plays out almost the same as his vision.
Right. So that's interesting. Trying to.
And then I guess I
I'm
don't know if there's
humming.
much to say about Gatto. We saw him in the backstory. That's kind of it, you know.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, there's the thing of Charlotte comparing Ryan to him constantly, so I'm sure that there's some sort of romance plot there, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, some sort of. I don't know how this story does if I should be expecting romance or not, but it seems like that's what they're setting up for.
I would say that's a reasonable expectation.
Yeah.
I guess, do you have anything else in your notes or any other major notes from this section? Because I think
No,
that's
we kind of hit most of my stuff that I put down. Um, yeah, I mean all
all
of the stuff
right.
I put down actually.
Nice.
So I think
So I guess
unless you have anything else,
final
I'm
roundup on your theories, just to make sure we know where we're thinking moving forward. So we think that the faced mechon are Hom's souls fused with machines.
right.
We think that there's multiple metal face. We think that maybe if this, I guess here's a question: why do you think some of them talk and some of them don't?
So I
I
believe
mean, we
in
kind of said it
the
was like you said it before, it was like a main one. Do you think that's still the case,
right.
or do you think there's something else to it?
I either that there is like a main body and the other ones are based off of it, or maybe it's like because they are like machines, maybe there's like iterations of them, and like maybe the ones that can't talk are like
Older.
prototypes or like older versions of something.
Hmm.
Is a maybe that I'm thinking.
Okay.
Um, but I'm not locked in on either of those.
Okay.
That feels a little light, but
Okay. And then we think that the mysterious handsome man with white hair from Shulk's visions is one of these high entia that Dixon has met. And that the high entia are an advanced civilization if they still exist, and that there is a counterpart to them on the Mechonis called the low entia.
yes, exactly.
And that the low entia are the people who are turning Homs into machines.
Uh-huh.
Do you have anything about what you think might be the deal with the high entia? Like, do you think that
Um,
they are anything other than just an advanced civilization, or anything you think they're tied to that we already know about?
um, maybe
Because I
they're.
know
I don't
in
know.
the first
I
discussion you had thought that maybe the Monado was like from the Mechonis or something. Do you think that it's possible,
yeah,
like rather than it being made there, that maybe they made it, just as a possibility other
maybe,
than the Mechonis? Maybe if it is the Bionis' sword, that they somehow built it or built this version of
maybe.
it or something. I
But
don't know.
it
Just
feels
throwing
like
it out
they're
there.
very like. I mean, just by the fact that they controlled whatever the dragon thing was that you called it,
Telethia.
uh, the Telethia, it feels like they're more in tune with like
Nature stuff
the
as
nature
opposed
of
to.
stuff.
I mean, I guess the Bionis is nature stuff. So.
Yeah. And so like I don't know, it would feel kind of weird for them to make this like very
Fu-
electronic
Electric
feeling
Future
weapon.
Sword.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um
I just wanted
Yeah,
to
so
see if I could
that's
gauge anything else about your thoughts on what the Hyantia might be.
yeah, I'm not sure.
So I think, unless there's any other major theory thing that I'm forgetting about, I think that's where your current standing is for predictions on the story. Um, and with that, I think if we're done with all of our theory stuff, I can say thanks for watching. Click the
Ooh,
buttons again. Do the likes,
yeah,
do the
guys. Hey,
subscribes.
remember the thing we said at the beginning? Click the
Yeah,
button.
click the buttons.
Leave a comment if you hate Juju just like me.
Leave a comment if you're a big Juju head, just like everybody else. Um, if your comment about the Xenoblade series makes me cry, I'll put a heart on it. And
Yeah,
don't worry about putting spoilers because I won't let Misfit read them unless they're spoiler free.
correct.
So feel free to talk about future stuff that relates back to this section if you feel inclined.
Mm-hmm.
And unless we have anything else,
I think that's
I think
thanks
that's
for
all we've
watching.
got. Thanks for watching. And as always,
Cheers.
cheers.